Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of promotional tutorials for the En route application. This is the first tutorial, and here I will show you how you can plan a trip using En route, as well as some of the great features of this product. First of all, let's talk about the kind of things that you can do with En route. En route is an advanced way to comprehensively plan bike trips. There are some other mapping programs out there which you may have seen, but none of these programs are specifically designed for bikers like En route, and none offers such a fully featured experience. En route is for those who enjoy motorcycle touring and travel and want to plan trips tailored specifically to their needs. If you're the kind of person who spends a lot of time thinking about and planning your next trip, you're going to love this product. And whether you're a traditional map fan or a techie GPS user, En route offers many features that help you to make your next trip better and have a lot of fun doing it. En route is packaged with maps for 50 European countries which you can plan your trips on, so it's useful at home and it avoids the need to buy many local maps of the areas you visit. Your routes, when you've made them, can then be printed out onto paper and put in your tank bag or loaded onto your GPS. En route supports most Garmin, TomTom and Navigon based GPSs. En route is therefore a logical accompaniment to both traditional map travel and the latest sat-nav approach. Route creation is easy with En route, so let's have a look at how that works. So, as I say, on the right, the map screen here. Let me show you the map interface quickly. 50 European countries covered, and I can pan and zoom around those maps. On the right hand side, points of interest here, categories of points of interest. Camping, motorcycle shops, sightseeing, those kind of things, transportation points, and those are also displayed on the map when you look at the map. So let's just view that. If I go to the centre of Frankfurt, for example, so here we can see some of the attractions, for example, Suzuki dealers, those kind of things. And if you have particular points of interest, you can also import your own. En route accepts many types of file formats in which you can import your own points of interest. So also these can be home locations, where friends live, those kind of things. All the kind of things you might want to include in your route. Maybe you've got a camping book with a lot of extra campsites in it which you like in a particular region, those kind of things. Okay, so let's now create a trip. I was in Germany then, but I don't have to be. I can go to the UK. Okay, so in my imaginary trip, what I'm doing is, imagine it's Sunday and I want to go out for a ride with my friends. Now, I might start from a location and then go to another location. So let's choose a place to start. Let's say Buxton. And now I'm going to meet my friends at the garage in Buxton. And then I'm going to go to Macclesfield. Where are we going to go in Macclesfield? Let's go to the golf club in Macclesfield. Okay. And we're going to arrive at the golf club at about 1 o'clock. I could add in my friends' addresses as via points if I wanted to, or I could add in petrol stations, those kind of things if I desire it. But I'm not going to do that for this example. I'm just going to show simple route planning. Underneath the start and end point and the via points and the arrival time, I've got various settings that I can use. I can let En route show me more than one option for this route between these 2 points. I can take scenic routes where possible, avoid tolls, motorways, those kind of things. If you've used mapping software before, you might recognize some of these. But En route has the unique feature where it can select points of scenic interest. So roads which are particularly interesting, roads which run past forests, lakes, mountains, those kind of things. And it will favour those types of routes in the calculation. So you don't have to do all the research. En route will apply its process for you. So in this case, I'm going to demonstrate a number of examples, quick examples. I'm going to show you first using secondary routes. I could, for example, choose fast roads or scenic roads, or if I'm unhappy with those, I can also select my own profile and I can change various options here. and that will become my profile. So my routes when I use my routes. And what I like about this is you can include breaks, multi-day trips, so you can get a very accurate idea of the time a trip is going to take you. And you can also represent, of course, the trips in different colours. So let's start there, and I'm going to calculate this route with en route now. So what I should expect to see is 2 routes going from Buxton to Macclesfield, arriving at lunchtime at Macclesfield Town Hall. So route 1 is shown in blue, and route 2 is shown in green, or the alternative route, let's say. Now, those of you who know the area will know that one of the most dangerous roads in Britain, the A537 Cat and Fiddle, is actually located between Buxton and Macclesfield. And you'll see this road is very interesting and notorious at the same time. So here you can see the Cat and Fiddle, which is selected as one of the routes of the primary route. And you've got the alternative route going on secondary roads there, A54. So what we could do is here, if we wanted to, we could preview this route. Let's say, for example, we'll take the one which has the Cat and Fiddle, and we could preview that in Google Earth now if we want to. So I can export that as what's called a KML file to Google Earth. I can of course use other formats, but just for the sake of this example, and let's run that. Let's see. Okay. Now I'm going to open that in Google Earth. And obviously Google Earth is a free tool which allows you to preview your route. Obviously en route copes with different formats for this, so it allows you to do this kind of thing. And there you go, there you can see what that would be like if you were riding along that route. A little bit slow. Google Earth obviously takes quite a lot of processing power, but you get the idea. I won't necessarily dwell on that, but you can quickly visualize what your route is going to be like without actually having to go and visit it. Obviously, if you're planning a group ride, this kind of information is very important because you want to be sure that the route you've planned is quite good. Okay, so I'm just going to quit out of that now, and I'm going to go back to en route. Okay. Now, en route, as I said, gives you a number of different ways to show the route. Now, also the altitude profile there, that can give you an idea about how interesting scenically the area is. Obviously, there's a lot of changes in profile. Probably it's quite an interesting area to visit. And then the traditional roadbook approach there, the directions and so forth. And if I wanted to print that route, I can also do that. So no need for me to buy a map. I can just print the en route map there, and it shows me where I'm starting and where I'm going. That fits handily in my tank bag. Close that. Now, obviously, if I know that the Cat and Fiddle is a very good road, but I also happen to know that it's heavily policed and there are many other people on it, maybe I'll select the alternative route, or maybe I'll also just start again, and instead of choosing secondary roads, I'll choose scenic roads, and I'll express a strong preference towards taking scenic roads between those 2 points. Now, you can see here then that it's chosen far more secondary type route, which is probably slower, but also probably more interesting in terms of scenery there. So en route can quickly develop different kinds of routes for you. Obviously, I haven't created my own profile there, but I could do if I wanted to. Now, one of the features that I really like about en route as well is there's what's called an excursion feature. Now, obviously, in my first example, I was planning a Sunday ride out. But imagine that I wanted to take a trip from somewhere where I was staying, or wanted to take rent a bike from somewhere to an area I'd never been before. Well, there are 2 things I could do here. First thing is I could use the Excursion Wizard, and the second thing is I could use one of 800 pre-packaged routes in en route. So the pre-packaged routes are here under Tours, and I can click on those, and I can select a country, and I can select a route in that country. These are preloaded, so you can obviously modify those, but it's the idea is that it's quick and it's easy to use. Obviously, there's quite a lot of information in this software, so sometimes it takes a couple of seconds to load. So here we are. Now imagine that I'm going to Spain. And I can see then in Spain there is all these routes ready for me. So from Granada, in Andalusia, those kind of places. And I can calculate one of those routes. Obviously, Granada, those of you that know a bit about European travel will know that Granada is a route of particular interest, a place of particular interest. Lots of nice roads around there. So that's an example of a pre-packaged route. The next type of feature is much more powerful. It's what's called the Excursion Wizard. Now, the Excursion Wizard allows me to select a route in a certain area around, so I can do a round trip effectively. So imagine that I'm visiting the Alsatian region of France, a very nice region, and I've got 1 day there. Now, I could start my route in the Alsace well, Strasbourg's nice, but Colmar's nicer. So let's start in Colmar, and let's start at, say, one of the wine merchants there in Colmar, the capital of the Alsace. And maybe I know that I want to ride 180 miles in a day and I want to do a round trip. I could, of course, change that to 150 if I like. And I can then select around Colmar which direction I'd like to travel. Now, I happen to know that the west of Colmar is quite nice. So I could have a quick look there, maybe the northwest. So En route will now design me a 150-mile route, round trip route, so starting and finishing at the wine store in Colmar. Perhaps not a good idea from a responsibility point of view, but nonetheless, hopefully an interesting route to ride my bike on. Let's have a look at that now. Obviously, en route is points of interest that can help you find things like campsites and so forth in these areas as well as desired. So, En route has now made for me 2 suggestions of routes. And it's given the routes an overall evaluation. And up here, way up here, you can see that I've got the approximation of the route. This is not the actual route, the route will be calculated, but it's showing me approximately where I'm going to be going quickly. So here's the first route and here's the second route. You can see that there's an evaluation according to certain criteria. And you can see that the first route is scored much more highly than the second route here. So why is that? Well, it's uphill and downhill with many winding roads and there's some forests. So that sounds like a very nice route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that excursion to my route planning now. So I start and I finish in the same place. And I can, of course, if I want to, apply my options to it again. And there you are. There is my incredibly twisty, very up and down route in the Alsace region of France, which is fantastic. Here I can see now that, as before, the road book and so forth. I could of course open that in Google Earth again, but I'm not going to do that this time. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how you would load this onto a sat nav. So the easiest way for me to show this is to use, for example, a product like Mapsource. I could, of course, download it directly onto the unit, but I'm going to choose to open this route in Mapsource. Okay. Now, those of you that know Mapsource will know that it deals with what's called routes and tracks. Now, a track is like where you've been already, and a route is where you're going to go. So in this area, I've created this route, which I could load directly onto my unit. It's 230 kilometers. Obviously, that's the conversion from miles there. And Also, you'll understand that in Mapsource there are many different maps available, so I should recalculate my route onto that map. There we are, that's now my route. It's now 342 kilometres with some adjustments. The track is also there for me if I want to more accurately change that route. Obviously, I don't have to use that route. I can use then all the features of Mapsource to drag and drop the various features there. But that's given me a very quick head start, a very nice trip, an idea for a new place to visit, those kind of things. Very useful. I'm not going to save that. I'm just going to talk a bit more about en route and then I'll draw it to a close. So here, what else can I do with en route? Those are two of the main features. I can also put in other types of objects on the route if I like, so to speak. Motorcycle hotels, campsites, those kind of things. En route also includes things like tips for driving, the driving regulations in each country, speed limits, those kind of things for you. So go and have a very nice product. Goodbye.